Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tiger Talk Tuesday. Now, this is a live because Tommy Europe is in BC, so I'm used to doing these in person, so have patience with me as we bring him in to the live, okay? So just give me a second, and we are going to wait to include him as soon as we see him. So for those of you that are joining, I started this series, Transitioning to Life After Sports, because there's so many athletes out there that are struggling in silence after their career ends or injury or unforeseen circumstances. One second here. Okay. Sorry guys, just one second. We're just waiting for Tommy to join the call here. Hold on. Just one second. No. One second. Just give me a little patience here, guys. Waiting for Tommy to join me. He's in British Columbia. I have not done this on Facebook Live in a long, long time, but just hang tight as I find him. Hold on. There we go. Send invite. Okay. So just hang on. Thank you for your patience. We are adding Tommy Europe to the call. Hang on. Okay, my internet says it's adding you, Tommy, so we'll just give it a second. Good old technology. Thanks for your patience, guys. It says it's adding. It'll be worth the wait. Once we get them on here, it'll be worth the wait. I promise you. And as we wait, for those of you that know I got my little menopause fan, this not bringing him on is making me sweat. 1 second, okay? It says it's adding him. Tommy, I'm going to exit out and try to add you again. Okay, one sec. Still waiting for the ad. Okay. Tommy. Add. There. We will get this. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, we got it. Shoot.
So now,
Now we gotta turn you around. You're upside down. Good old tech, eh? We were laughing, texting back and forth. Like, yeah, when you just went the other way, your head was straight up. So turn the other way. Right there. Now you're straight up and down. Is your computer sideways?
my computer, so yeah. I'm on my phone actually right now, but it's okay.
Yeah, so when you add, I know it's funny with this stuff. I apologize, but we're good. We're here. So without further ado, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, and there's no like backdrop?
No backdrop.
Awesome. Okay, so welcome to, this is episode 3 of Transitioning to Life After Sports. Now, why I wanted to start this series is because myself as an athlete and many others, a lot of times we struggle in silence after we leave our chosen sport or field of it because we're used to being in the limelight, you're used to having your schedules all set out for you, and then all of a sudden it comes to a crashing halt. Yes, we move on and we do other things with our lives, but I do know and have had experience with some athletes and friends that did not handle the pressure as well. And there are stories out there of athletes that have lost their lives because the transition was just unbearable for them. So if we can shed light on the mindset piece that athletes go through, this is why I wanted to start these talks. And who other than better to talk to Tommy Europe. Now, you guys, his bio, I copy and pasted. It is, I feel like I've said this about all my interviews, but I feel like I should ask you, Tommy, what haven't you done? Because I think the list would be a lot shorter if that was the case. But Tommy Europe, I'm just going to read this, guys, because I cannot memorize this. He is one of Canada's most recognized fitness personalities and national champion for the Canadian Men's Health Foundation. Actually, last time you were in Ottawa, we ran into each other when you were here on Parliament, right?
We did, and June is coming up, and it's Men's Health Month coming up, so lots of good stuff.
this is very timely. Are you going to come back to Ottawa?
I'm not sure exactly what's happening yet, but you will definitely be hearing from me.
Perfect. So he is the published author of The 10-Pound Shred and played the no-nonsense drill sergeant and hosted the popular fitness show, The Last 10 Pounds Boot Camp and Bulging Brides. Actually, Tommy and I met because of The Last 10 Pounds Boot Camp. One of my friends was on the show, and I was visiting her in BC, and we had the pleasure of meeting then. Tommy's no excuses training approach is the result of 25 years in the fitness industry, combined with 11 years as a professional football player and more than 20 years as a film and television stunt performer. This experience has allowed him to understand and appreciate the movements of all sports. He has combined this knowledge to develop his shred training philosophy and numerous online training programs, including his Shred 365 online training platform. So here we are. Tell me you're it.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm going to give the stage to you because I know you are just a fountain of knowledge, and I know we see all the success and the bio screams like it might be like, what does he need to be on this interview transitioning to life after sports? But I would bet money that the gaps between each of those successes, you had transitions, seasons of doubt, seasons of what am I going to create next? So tell me let's go from your football playing career and kind of those gaps of all these amazing accomplishments and the mindset part for you.
Definitely, and I think you said it right off the top. Mindset is everything. Any transition is going to have its own battles. Nothing is a straight line. Nothing is, void of, failure, so to speak. But I always looked at things when you fail at one thing or fail at one attempt. What's the lesson there? So figuring out where you went wrong and just really fortifying your mind as strong as possible. And when I say fortifying your mind, sometimes, you might think that things aren't possible, but they are. And to prove that.
Oh, no! Oh, no.
So they might be down, but they're not out. They might be down, but they're not out.
I'm just lifting you up a bit. I love it. Oh, Toronto. You know what? My husband's best bud, Darren, would be loving this if he saw this. He's a big Toronto fan, so they're always razzing each other. That's hilarious. I love it. Oh, no. What is someone commenting? Did someone go, boo?
That's okay. Well, Ottawa might have a chance next year.
Okay. So where were we?
For me, in regards to when I was playing football, I had a knee injury.
Okay.
I think my 6th year when I got back from New Orleans, and I finished the year off in Montreal, and then I had surgery at the end of the year. And the surgery, I had a chipped bone, chipped kneecap, so that they removed, and then it got infected, and so basically I was starting from ground zero, and that's truly the first time that I was like, I may not make it back. Oh, what am I going to do? I had no clue exactly what I wanted to do, what was next. So nothing was really guaranteed. I went into training camp that following year, failed my Cybex test. So I was basically retired for training camp.
Can I stop you just for a second?
Yes.
Because I think it's very interesting because I've studied a lot of the science for athletes, and so some choose to retire. Others, you said injury, which is very interesting because, and you would know this based on the science, like your dopamine and your serotonin levels and the oxytocin, all these feel-good hormones, all of a sudden come to a screeching halt.
Crash.
Did you feel that emotional deregulation?
100%.
Okay.
I can remember vividly in one of my days of physio where after I had the surgery and after I had the infection, so I couldn't do anything. So my leg was like this. And I was sitting with my back against the wall, sitting down, and I had to lift my leg 1 inch, keeping it straight. Oh. And I was looking at my foot and I was trying to lift it up and I couldn't get it off. I could not get my foot off the ground. And from that point for probably 3 or 4 weeks, that started like really a true depression where, I was devastated because that's the first time in my life that I didn't feel like Superman, like I was invincible. And I had to think about, okay, what now?
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes, especially male athletes, even female, the egos can get involved. And I really appreciate and thank you for your honesty and just saying, that's when you kind of had an episode with depression. Because can you speak to some of those feelings that you felt during that transition? Because one, there is light at the end of the tunnel in your story. You were able to get through that. But I know for a fact, some of my friends that are they haven't told anyone. I know that they're struggling, but can you
Hmm.
speak to what that headspace was like for you so that someone who is struggling right now that is watching this but is too afraid to say anything, can you give them a little bit of insight
It
into how you
was,
felt?
yeah, it was terrible. It was dark. It was probably one of the darkest chapters of my life, just the way I was feeling, because my life's work, everything I've planned and everything I've dreamt about since I was a little kid, being a professional football player, that was all coming to a head, and I really didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I think it was that, not knowing and uncertainty of if I was going to be able to come back. And it just kind of spiraled into a whole series of negative thinking. I can remember going to the gym and, putting 225 on the bench, thinking I'm going to get back to exactly where I was. And then I got pinned, and then I got the weights off,
Oh, no, you got pinned.
and then I left the gym. So it was just
Oh,
a series of events that just, compounded on top of each other that really put me in a hole. And it really wasn't until I was, and mindset was the thing that kind of pulled me out, where I was like, well, no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to feel sorry for you. So it's either you give it everything you have, or, you figure out what else you're going to do.
and
And
what was
that's,
that inciting moment for you? So I feel like we have these moments that we just all of a sudden we pivot. What were you doing and that all of a sudden you just made a decision and everything changed?
yeah, I just decided, I did the work. I thought, reflected on everything I'd gone through in the past, to get to where I was, and how hard I worked, and how much, it didn't really matter what anybody told me or what anybody said. I was always headstrong in what I was going to do. So I just kind of went back to my roots. And, one thing I like to say is, don't talk about it, be about it.
Mm.
And I had to be about it. And, from that point on, I worked with other people that, stuff I hadn't done before. Because when you are faced with something like that, you are going to have to introduce other people. You are going to have to talk to some other people. You're going to have to do things a little bit differently than you're used to, because you want a different result, and it's definitely going to take 100% of your effort, 100% of your faith, if it's going to come to
Mm.
fruition.
So you said you had to go back to kind of your roots, which is amazing. I'm so curious, do you journal?
I don't journal, but I mean, I do meditate. I do have goals. I do, I am always working towards something.
Awesome.
So it was always like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And okay, that's great. How are you going to do it? Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go here on this day, that there on that day. And I had a whole training mechanism, that I went through the rehab process. And I had an amazing physio, Clyde Smith. If you're out there, he was a lifesaver. He
Oh
was
no.
he was one of the assistant coaches for the Vancouver Grizzlies at the time, and he's seen all kinds of injuries. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and run. He's like, no, you're not.
Keeps you in
We're
check,
gonna,
eh? The
yeah,
head thinks you can do it, but the body is like, ah.
completely. So he kept me in check, but kept me motivated, and kept me, thinking positively, and just, making strides. And for anybody who is struggling, any step forward is a positive step.
Mm.
You just got to one foot, then the other one, then the other one. And over time, as that goes on, your resolve is going to get a lot stronger. Your resilience is going to be a lot stronger. And you're going to go through whatever it is you need to go through.
I love that. That's so powerful. And I'm so glad that you went right into it because that's the whole point of these conversations that I really want to bring light to. And it's like big macho men that, they struggle too. And I think sometimes as a society, I mean, it's used for women, but I really want to set the stage. Like it's okay for the men to come forward too and say they struggled. I remember when I went back to the gym, you made me laugh when you said you got pinned. I went back after my breast cancer and I was off for 2 years and I was with my husband and I tried to squat And I used to be like super strong. I had to have a moment and I just started crying. And it was like, my husband's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, it was such a humbling moment. And I just want athletes to know you're going to go through these things. And that, like you just said, you noticed, you had to make a decision, and then you put a plan in place. You had a team to help you. And as you executed, you built that belief and that trust back up. So once you got physically healthy again, is this when you kind of started exploring other avenues? And I mean,
That's,
were
yeah,
you
like literally that was the start of my
stunt career?
professional, no, fitness. It was
Okay.
fitness. Stunts wasn't even in the realm of anything I was thinking of.
Awesome.
I got certified as as a personal trainer, just because it was, that kind of put a bit of reality into me. Like, what are you gonna
Yeah,
do when you're done?
yeah, for
So,
sure.
okay, I love training people. I love pushing people. I love training myself. I'm gonna be a trainer. So I got certified to be a trainer. I did end up playing for another 5 years. So I
Ah,
did have the training cert
come back.
in my yeah in my in my pocket basically. But yeah, I just kept the vision. I kept on going strong. And then when it came time to walk away, I could have gone back to play again when I actually did. And I'm still not officially retired. Maybe I'll make a maybe
We're
I'll make a
gonna see.
comeback at some point.
Perfect. What team? What would be your team of choice if you made a comeback? We should start getting them. We should send them this video.
You know what? The three places I played in Winnipeg, I played in BC. I won a Grey Cup in BC, played in Montreal, and played in Winnipeg. Great places, all three of them. And who knows? Maybe I can retire in three teams.
There you go. Perfect. And that, I mean, okay, and then you're going into stunt work and all these things. So that very first, so you're on the up and up. Did you experience
Yeah,
another down and then another up? Because there's usually kind of with your rap sheet, there must be another one where your mindset
yeah.
had to pull you through something
It's
else.
well, definitely. I mean, getting in the field of personal training and then getting into film and television, it's an amazing job. When both of them that I love dearly, but there's no guarantees. It doesn't mean you're going to be working all the time. You're kind of your own boss, and you have to make things happen. Things aren't going to happen for you. You got to I wasn't trained as a stunt performer, so I had to learn different things, learn how to fall, learn how to work different skills, from on the ratchets and things like that. I'll send you my demo reel later so you can see some of the things that I've been able to do. But
Yes.
when I think about it, it's not something that I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a stuntman. It was something that kind of happened organically from, again, meeting people, knowing people, and applying myself. And that's how I kind of go about my everyday life. And when I talk about that time when I couldn't lift my leg off the ground, when I do have those rough times, I think back to that.
Mm,
Because for me, my mindset is like, dude, you thought you were
mm.
finished. You were like at the bottom of the bottom, and you pulled your way up and pulled your way out. So that's what I always kind of reach back to when I am having tough times. Because yeah, again, nothing's a straight line. Whether it's work, family, a lot of things come into play. But if your mindset is strong and you believe in what you're doing and you actually put the work in, um, anything and everything is possible.
Yeah, that's the key, putting the work piece. I always love the saying, don't be upset for the results you didn't get from the work you didn't do. It always keeps me checked at place like forever. I'm like, why am I not getting this result? It's like, okay, Janine, well, let's just self-reflect here and see how much you actually effort you put into that. What is your routine behind closed doors? What do you do to get yourself into a peak state when you are in those down days?
I just kind of put the work in this. For me, it's mindset. I do I've written a book. I'm writing another one now. I'm a public speaker, so spoke all across the country, different corporations, groups, and I always talk about my shred mentality. Shred standing for strength, heart, resilience, efficiency, and discipline. And those five pillars, for me anyway, and for everything that I've seen from successful people, they all have all five of those elements involved in their growth in reaching that pinnacle or that peak of where they want to go. So I always go back to shred. You got to be discipline being the most important piece, which is the last one. because you're not always going to be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that as well. You're not always going to be motivated, but if you're disciplined, you're going to do whatever it is that you need to do to get done what needs to be done. So discipline is the most important part at the end, but then at the beginning, strength. I talk more about mental strength, and that's setting the game plan and setting the framework for what's going to follow.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that. Such a good program. We'll have to put a link for that in the notes so that if people want to check it out in your online programs, you can text those to me and I'll add them to the notes for this.
Definitely.
But if you could leave people with one more thought or anything that, for an athlete that's struggling or athletes that are still competing, I mean, I really like when you're in the game, did you ever have a plan? To obviously, but probably not before you got injured because you were in the thick of it and you weren't planning to get injured like that. But are you ever working on anything behind the scenes? Hey, what's my plan B if I ever went through this? Or were you just kind of enjoying the game and weren't thinking about it yet?
Once I was certified, I had that in my back pocket. I think, the mistakes that some people make is it's awesome to have a plan B, but if you're working so hard on plan B, you can't give all your focus to plan A, which is what you're doing. So once I was certified and I've kind of set in my mind, okay, whenever I'm done, whether it's by injury or I get cut or whatever the case may be, I'm going to just transfer over into training. So I already had that set. And then I just put my full focus into playing and then giving my absolute all. And I think that's what you have to do. Just mentally setting yourself up for success.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, you're always a pleasure to talk to. You better let me know if you come to Ottawa in June.
I will.
We should run I could set us up if actually people would be interested in this. I have a room where we could get seat 70 people, maybe do a little mental fitness clinic between the two of us. But you're always a pleasure to speak to. I have your, one second, I'm going to get it. I have your rap sheet, 2 pages long, super impressive. I did want to just include, some facts about Tommy. He's the proud father of 2, 2-time selection as Canada's top fitness trainer, successful entrepreneur, 11-year CFL veteran, best-selling published author, stuntman, TV host, media personality, and family fitness and film. So I appreciate your time. It's not like you're busy at all. So I really appreciate it. And if we can help some athlete or, if someone's really struggling to save a life, not to go down that road, this work is all worth it. So I really appreciate your time.
And to follow that up, if there are any athletes that are out there and you're looking for support, some help, and hey, there's people to talk to. And if you can't find anybody, shoot me a message. Shoot Janine a message. We're here for you.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. We figured out how to do Facebook Live.
Yes, we did. And I hope all those people that are in Ottawa and all across Canada just remember.
My husband would be like, yeah, that's hilarious. Well, as always, I hope you have the best day. And people, if you have comments below, Tommy can reply to you. But thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll be chatting soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye.